Hey everyone, and welcome. In this video I wanted to go through my setup for uploading images from the ESP32 CAM into Amazon Web Services S3 and some of the things that I've solved along the way, some of the issues that I've had and how I've resolved them, because there was quite a few things that I had to get working, and I think this could be useful for people trying to do the same thing. So what I'm using this for is for uploading images so that I can use them in time-lapse footage, so I can just create time-lapses for myself using the ESP32 CAM. Now I'll put a link in the description of the code that I've used. So this is the Arduino sketch that I used, and it's got this is a sketch from one of the I think it's one of the examples or a website where somebody was uploading images to PHP server. So I've modified it so it works with Amazon Web Services S3. And it's just sort of standard code. You're connecting to Wi-Fi. There's some event handler stuff here. And if we go down, there's a couple of things I'm doing to make these photos unique and the pictures unique that go into S3, because I want to hook up multiple cameras and I don't want to have to change the code every time. So what I'm doing here is one of the things I'm doing is getting the epoch from the time server, and I'm setting that as the file name here on the right hand side. So I'm also getting the MAC address of the device, so we'll have a unique folder, and so this will be the folder here. The MAC will be the folder and the time will be the file name .jpg. So just doing some conversions here and stuff. There might be a better way of doing this. I'm not that comfortable with Arduino code yet, so I've just sort of started using it. And then it just sends the picture up. Now, one of the problems I had is that it sends the picture in binary, but Amazon Web Services API Gateway can't process binary directly, or it can't send it to Lambda to do anything with. So I'll show you how I solved that. Now this takes a picture roughly every 60 seconds. If we just scroll up, you'll see that's roughly every 60 seconds. So we'll go over to S3 and I'll show you what these pictures look like uploading to S3. And I've got a bucket here with the images folder, and this is the folder name I was talking about. This is the MAC address. And then we've got the epoch. So if we scroll down, we'll just refresh this and we should be able to see, it says viewing 1 of 20, and it's probably been going for a few minutes now. And you can see there's 32. So it's just continually uploading, and I think it just did another one. So we'll have a look. Yep, 33. So that's just continually uploading images. And there's nothing on them at the moment. It's just pointing towards, I'll open one of them and I'll show you. So what you can do is put these, so there's a picture that it's uploading. It's just sitting on a shelf at the moment. So what you can do is you can actually process this from the bottom epoch to the top one, and that's why I've done epoch, because it's going sequentially from lowest to highest. And so when I process this through a time-lapse program, it will just it will be able to process them in the correct order. So that's what the bucket looks like. I'll go to API Gateway now, and you can see how I've set that up. In fact, I'll go to Lambda first, because Lambda will be a bit less complicated. But you can see the script here. The Lambda script is just creating an S3 object. I'm printing the event, and I'll show you what that event looks like coming in after we look at API Gateway. But I'm basically getting the encoded image as base 64, and there's something clever we can do in API Gateway to get it from binary to base 64, and that's how I've been able to achieve that. And the folder name is the S3 folder, and the file name is the event.filename. And then it's just the standard sort of S3 stuff here, setting the body and the key as the file path, and we've sort of got a folder there. It's not really a folder if you know S3, but it is a folder. And the key is essentially the file name, and then that uploads it. So we'll go to API Gateway now, and I'll show you what that looks like, because most of the smarts are in API Gateway. So here's our API Gateway definition thing. You can ignore that post at the top. That was one that I was using before I created this structure, but you just need one down here. So the first one is a folder. Those square brackets mean that it's going to use them as kind of like variables or parameters that we can then pull in. So the folder and the epoch are going to come through as the folder being the MAC address. The epoch is the epoch basically that comes through from the ESP32 Cam. So when the ESP32 Cam creates that, I'll go down the bottom here and I'll show you what this. So here is the API Gateway post URL, and the post URL has the MAC address and the time there. So when the MAC address comes through and the time comes through in API Gateway, being the MAC address and the epoch, or the time being the epoch. So if we go back to the method request, I'll show you what I have in the method request. We've got just the epoch request paths and the folder there. I believe they're put in automatically when you create the post method under here. And the integration request. In fact, I'll show you first of all what I've got under the settings, because the settings is a thing that will do the binary conversion for us. So if we click on settings and scroll down, you notice there's a binary media types, and it says you can configure binary support for your API by specifying which media type should be treated as binary types. So I've put in there image/JPG, which is what the content type will come in as. So if we look here, the content type, which you can probably see it, here we go. It comes through as image/JPG, and then that's all we need to do there. So we just save that, and we've got that saved as a setting. So if we go back to the post here, click on integration request. I've just done integration type as Lambda. We're not using proxy integration because we want to be able to change some of these settings here, and we just have a region, the Lambda function, which is that function we saw before, and default timeout. So we've got no URL path parameters, no URL query string parameters, and no headers, but we do have a mapping template. So this mapping template is the other key to that base64 binary conversion. If I've created a content type of image/JPG, and if we click on that, you'll be able to see how I'm mapping those input parameters. So from the folder and the epoch, and I've just called it S3 folder on the back end, and then file name. And the base64 image comes through as the input.body. And so that's the body that comes through that AWS will convert the base64, and it'll put it in the body for us. So then we can send that to Lambda as the base64 image, or we can just call that body if we wanted to. So we'll see what this looks like when it goes through to Lambda, and we'll be looking for the S3 folder and the file name, which gets mapped from the input parameters, folder, and epoch. Now, if we wanted to create another input parameter called something else, like if we wanted to call the camera a name in the code, so camera 1, we can create another under here. We can go actions, create resource, and create another resource here, and then we would put it in those squiggly brackets again. But I've just got 2 because all I want is the MAC address or the folder and the epoch, which is the time. So we'll go to Lambda and have a look at what that request looks like, because I'm console logging the event. So that's going to go into CloudWatch for me. So if we click on view CloudWatch logs, and then under the CloudWatch logs, we're going to have a few log files here. If we click on the top one, this is the latest events that have come through. And you'll see here that the info event is, and it's got the event. So it's got the S3 folder we were looking at, and it's got the file name. And then it's got the base64 image for us, which is roughly 30% bigger than the binary version because it's basically ASCII sort of text. And it's pretty big, but, they're pretty big images. And I'm not sure what resolution they are. I'll let you know because interest to someone of what resolution will download one of these. So they're actually 1600 by 1200 resolution, which is pretty cool. I think that's about it. I'll put the code down in the description for everything I've talked about. So the Arduino sketch and the Lambda function, which I'll clean up a bit. And so you can have a play around with that. But I just wanted to demonstrate how this all works because it took me a few little tweaks and things to get going, and I think it could be really useful if you wanted to do a time lapse. These things are super cheap. They're like $6 from AliExpress or Banggood or something, and they're really cool little devices. And it saves having to get something like a Raspberry Pi, which uses heaps more power and is a lot more full of functions than something like an ESP32 Cam. Because the thing with the Raspberry Pi, it takes a lot of power. You got things, you've got all the USB and the network and all that sort of stuff, which if you just want to take a time lapse and send it to S3, all you need is one of these little things powered by USB or solar power. If you're only going to run it during the day because it hasn't got night vision, you just run it on solar power, and it's great. And so when the sun comes up, it just starts up and starts recording for you. And you go back a couple of weeks later, download all your images from S3, and then just create a time lapse. And I'll put a link in the description of the time lapse for you, the program or method you can use. And there's another YouTuber who's done a really good how-to on that. So there is one last thing I'll go through, and that's the configuration of this here. What I've done is my board is actually configured as the AI Thinker ESP32 Cam. That's what I had to use to get it working. And also I found that using the 5 volt pins and not the 3.3 volt pins on this thing was also required for some reason. It's just probably, I've got a long USB cable connecting it to the computer to upload the sketches, so it could be something to do with that. But it's been working flawlessly, and they're really great devices, as I said. So thanks for watching, everyone. And if you like this video, please give it a like. If you have any questions or comments, please put them down below. And as I said, I'll leave these sketches and stuff, all the info you need, in the description. So thanks again. Ciao.